Okay, let's have a look at question 3b for 2303. It says, at what other time is the velocity 0? Well, we know it's 0 at t equals 2, but there must be another time there somewhere where t is something else and it's still 0. So how can we do that? Well, the thing we notice about the velocity equation, and I'll just write it out. So where was my velocity equation? Here we go. All right. So velocity was equal to, we decided 4t minus 3 over 2t squared minus 2. So that's a quadratic. And of course, quadratics will always, or almost always, yield two separate answers. So we're wondering, well, if one of the answers is 2, what's the other one? Well, let's find out what the answers actually are if v equals 0. So I'm going to put if v equals 0, I'll put 0 is equal to 4t minus 3 over 2 t squared minus 2. So the first thing I'm going to do actually is get rid of the fraction. This is going to be an awkward thing to try and factorize, because I want to factorize this thing really. So let's do that. So let's multiply everything by 2. So I'm going to multiply the 0 by 2. So I'll rewrite this out to show what I'm doing. 3 over 2t squared minus 2. So I'm going to multiply this by 2, this by 2, this by 2, and so on, all the way through. And by doing that, well, 2 times 0 is still 0. 4t times 2 is 8t. But now I've got 2 divided by 2, leaving me with minus 3t squared. Minus, or 2 times 2 is 4. So that's now my quadratic. To be straight up with you, I don't really like it still. I don't like a negative 3t. I'm going to multiply the whole thing by negative 1. So I'm going to multiply this by negative 1, this by negative 1, this by negative 1, this by negative 1. And by doing that, I've got 0 is equal to, well, this is going to be now minus 8t. But this now is going to be negative 1 times negative 3 is going to be plus 3t squared, and this is going to be plus 4. So I'm going to rewrite it in an order that makes more sense to me as a quadratic for solving. So I'm going to write 3t squared minus 8t plus 4. So that's a nice sort of arrangement now. And I can now throw that into brackets if it factorizes cleanly. In other words, the answer is going to be whole numbers or natural numbers as opposed to something a bit more scary. All right, so let's see if we can do that. Well, 3 times 4, well, 3 fours are 12, so I'm looking for factors of 12. So 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. And I want things that they're going to add or subtract together to give an 8 of some sort. So let's see what that would be. So I'll put my two brackets down. I got my 3t at the start of each one. And now I'm going to say, well, let's have a look. Look, 2 and 6. Okay, so 2 and 6 if I've got, for example, because we know the signs are the same, a plus here, and they're both negative, so negative and negative. So if I put a 2 and a 6 in here, does not matter which order I put them in. Suddenly there's our quadratic. And I'm just going to make life a little bit easier by dividing all that by 3. So that's going to equal, 0 is going to equal 3t minus 2. By the way, I don't have to divide it by 3 because it doesn't change anything. But it will just turn into t minus 3, which means there's no coefficient here. It just makes it a little bit simpler for solving. You could leave it like that if you want. Makes no difference. Now, let's take a look. Oh, wait. I divided that by 3. I got that. Divided this by 3, I should get 2. What am I doing? Okay, cracky. All right. So, what's t going to have to be for this to be 0? Well, either t is going to equal, well, in this case, t would equal 2, because 2 minus 2 is 0. So t would equal 2. There's our t equals 2. Remember the question said, what other time other than 2 could it be when v equals 0? So let's see that, oh, here's the other time. So, or I'll put, I got 3t minus 2 is 0, which means that 3t is equal to 2, which means that t is equal to 2 on 3. So there's my other time. So I've got t is 2, and also t is 2 on 3. These are the two times, and this is the other time when what t will be, the time when the velocity is 0. And that would be my answer.